Presidential disasters, Andrew Jackson and the Trail of Tears. Content warning. This episode discusses forced removal and genocide of Native American peoples. Andrew Jackson was a war hero, a self-made man, and the people's champion. He expanded democracy for white men and became one of the most popular presidents of the 19th century. He was also responsible for one of the darkest chapters in American history, the forced removal of Native Americans from their ancestral lands. Jackson didn't just allow it to happen, he made it happen. Welcome to Burden of History, where we dive into the moments when history got messy. When Jackson took office in 1829, the Cherokee, Creek, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Seminole nations, known as the Five Civilized Tribes, lived across the southeastern United States. They farmed, built schools, published newspapers, and the Cherokee had even created their own alphabet through Sequoia. By every measure white America claimed to value, they were civilized. But they had something settlers wanted: land, fertile land in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida. And Andrew Jackson was determined to take it. In 1830, Jackson pushed the Indian Removal Act through Congress. The law authorized the federal government to negotiate treaties forcing Native Americans west of the Mississippi River to Indian Territory, today's Oklahoma. Jackson promised it would be voluntary and humane. It was neither. Georgia and other states ignored treaties and seized native lands. When the Cherokee Nation sued, the case went all the way to the Supreme Court. In Worcester versus Georgia, 1832, Chief Justice John Marshall ruled that Georgia had no authority over Cherokee territory. It was a clear victory for Native sovereignty. Jackson's response? He reportedly said, "John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it." The president simply refused to uphold the court's ruling. He wanted the Cherokee gone. Between 1831 and 1839, roughly 100,000 Native Americans were forced from their homes. Federal troops and state militias rounded up families at gunpoint, often giving them no time to gather belongings. They were marched west in brutal conditions, with inadequate food, clothing, or shelter. The Cherokee removal of 1838 was the deadliest. Over 16,000 Cherokee were imprisoned in camps and then forced to march more than 1,000 miles to Oklahoma. Families were torn apart. The sick and elderly died on the road. Children froze in the winter. Disease swept through camps. An estimated 4,000 Cherokee, a quarter of the nation, perished. They called it Nuna Daltsuni, the trail where they cried. History knows it as the Trail of Tears. The Choctaw, Creek, Chickasaw, and Seminole endured the same fate. Thousands more died. Their promised lands in Oklahoma were often barren and unfit for farming. The trauma of removal still echoes through Native communities today. Jackson never expressed regret. In his final annual message to Congress in 1836, he called Indian removal one of his greatest accomplishments. He claimed it was an act of mercy that had saved Native Americans from extinction. Andrew Jackson expanded democracy, but only for white men. For Native Americans, his presidency meant death, displacement, and the destruction of nations. Andrew Jackson, proof that you can be a hero to some and a monster to others, and history eventually remembers both. Thanks for watching Burden of History. If you want to learn more about the moments when leadership failed, subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. Which presidential disaster should we cover next?